Hey everyone, happy college football. It is Tuesday following week 10. This is Porcelain Picks, and I'm your host, Andrew Fabian, bringing you this week's version of Porcelain Audit, the time in the week where we are accountable to you, our viewers. So, we've got a pretty poor week to recap for you this past weekend. We had no Maction plays. I blame it on that. Joey Mack is usually on point. We went 6, 9, and 1 for you this past week. This is our worst week so far this season, and for that, we apologize. But you know what that means? That means week 11, we are going to be locked and loaded and committed to delivering you the locks you need as you scroll atop the porcelain throne. So let's jump into the audit. All right, we'll start with the noon hour. This was not a good hour for Porcelain Picks, not a good hour for me. Starting out with the big noon kickoff, we had Kansas State traveling to Texas to face the Longhorns. Longhorns were a 3.5-point favorite. I had told you Texas was going to blow this game wide open, and for a long time in this game, it looked that way. They had a 2-score lead for most of the game. Kansas State and Will Howard came roaring back towards the end. They end up taking the lead, forcing overtime. Texas ultimately wins by 3. They do not cover that 3.5-point spread. We just missed out on that one. So that's a terrible loss. Lock that one, flush that one, throw that one in the trash. All right, let's move on to Notre Dame Clemson. So I had told you that Notre Dame was going to be overpowering to Clemson. I thought Clemson's offense was not going to be able to move the football. That was wrong. If you took the over in this game, congratulations to you. It was 44.5 at the start of the game. We were almost going to take the under. Luckily, we stayed away from that. We did tell you Notre Dame -3 was one of the locks of the day. That did not happen. Clemson ends up victorious. Sam Hartman looks like he's reeling. Notre Dame gets their third loss. So that is a flusher down the toilet. All right, let's go to the SEC. So we had A&M at Ole Miss. Ole Miss was a 3-point favorite. We also like the under in this game at 52.5. This game was higher scoring than I expected. It was back and forth. Quinshon Judkins had a great game for Ole Miss. A&M kept it close the entire game. The spread in this game ends up going as a push. Ole Miss ended up winning by 3 points. So that's a push on the spread and the over hit. So we missed on the under. Terrible hour. Let's leave that noon hour behind us and jump to the 3:30 games. All right. So to the wins. All right. We got some good wins in this in Bedlam, Oklahoma at Oklahoma State. The final Bedlam. I told you to dive in on Oklahoma State. The Fighting Mike Gundys could potentially win this game, and that did happen. Oklahoma State, we took them +6. That hit. We also took the under 62.5. I told you the running game was going to be leaned on this game with Ollie Gordon, one of the best rushers in the nation for Oklahoma State. That happened. The under hit 62.5. Lock it, flush it. Let's move to ACC. All right, so Florida State at Pitt. Pitt looks a little okay at home so far this year. I thought this game was going to go over 50.5. I thought was a low total for a Florida State team against a Pitt team who gave up over 50 points to Notre Dame the week prior. But it was a low-scoring game. Florida State in the 20s. Pitt scored 7, so the under hit. That one's a throwaway one. That one is a loss. All right. Over to one of the biggest games of the day. We had Missouri traveling to Georgia, trying to knock off the Bulldogs. Georgia was a 15.5-point favorite. I liked that. I told you to take the 15.5-point spread. I also like the over in this game. I think Missouri's offense is really firing on all cylinders with Luther Burden, their wide receiver over there, having a huge year. I was wrong on this game entirely. It was a closer game than we thought. 55.5 with the over did not hit. It was a 30-21 final, so Georgia did not cover. Throw Georgia in the trash this week. The under hit, just a dull game back and forth, but Georgia is likely going to be number 1 when the college football rankings come out tonight. All right, let's jump back to the Big Ten. All right, so we've got Iowa at Northwestern. So if you've been trying to jump on these unders, I really strongly suggest you stick the course. Iowa cannot score points. They also have one of the best defenses in the country. Northwestern is not a team that could score. I told you to take this one no matter how low it got. We got it at 31.5. It was nowhere near that. It was a 10-7 final score. Lock that one. Flush that one. keep your eyes peeled for the next Iowa under. All right. Penn State also was playing at Maryland. I told you to take the Nittany Lions. I thought they were going to come out roaring after a ho-hum week against Indiana last week. They have a lot to prove the rest of the season. They always show up when they play in College Park. Maryland students and their fans get up for this game every single time they're hosting at home, and Penn State always embarrasses them. And this was no disruption from that. So 51-15 final score. Penn State -8.5. That was a lock it, flush it type game. All right. So let's move into the night slate. So this is where it got a little interesting here. So Kansas at Iowa State. I told you Iowa State was going to be rocking for this game. 2.5-point favorites. They were rocking. Jack Trice Stadium at night. They've won 4 of 5. They're hot. They're a pesky team. But Kansas shows up. They showed up like the team that showed up against when they knocked off Oklahoma. Kansas destroys Iowa State. So I was dead wrong on that one. All right, one of the most entertaining games. You knew it was going to be entertaining. You knew it was going to be high scoring out in Pac-12 country. We had Washington at USC. I told you to take Washington as a 3-point favorite. I thought they were going to put up some big points, which they did. This over/under was set at 76.5. Really, this one was good to play up to 80. They put up a lot of points in this game. It went over 90. So I told you take the over, take Washington. Lock it, flush it, both hit. Penix had a big day. Caleb Williams had a big game as well, but ultimately USC's defense cannot hold up against the opposition. We'll see Washington face Utah this upcoming week. That'll be a clash of styles. But this game we got right. Just a few of the correct picks on the week. So let's hop back to a loss. So we had LSU traveling to Tuscaloosa to face Alabama. I really liked LSU in this matchup. I thought Alabama's offense had a little bit of a sluggish start to the year. They've been putting together a couple good running games so far this season, but ultimately I thought LSU's passing game was going to be able to be the difference in this one. They did have a nice game. Jaden Daniels did show up. Malik Neighbors did show up. They had a lot of great pass plays, but ultimately Jalen Milroe really got it done on the ground. This guy rushed for 4 touchdowns. He looks fast. He looks more comfortable in there. I think Alabama is putting it together at the right time. They knock LSU out of SEC West contention. It's shaping up to be an Alabama-Georgia SEC championship game, and Alabama now holds the season in their own hands. They could potentially make the college football playoff if they win out, and they're putting it together at the right time of year. It's a dangerous time to face Coach Saban, so good on the Tide. Bad for me and bad for our picks. All right. Last game that we picked, we had Kentucky at Mississippi State. I told you the cowbells would be ringing. I told you to take Mississippi State at +4.5. That was a wildly horrible pick. Kentucky just put it on them. Devin Leary just showed up. They ran the ball with ease. They threw the ball with ease. Mississippi State was never in this game. This offense is really struggling so far this year. It might be time to start fading Mississippi State. All right. So again, we went 6 wins, 9 losses, 1 push on the week. We still have a great record on the season, and we are poised for a big bounce back week this upcoming week. We've got more to come. Please subscribe. Make sure you get the picks coming up this week. I'll drop them on Friday. We've got more Porcelain picks. Watch for Maction action tonight from Jersey Joe Reel. Let's get going. All right. Lock it, flush it. Porcelain picks out.